Who was this Miss Laura, and why was she intruding upon my lunch?
Please, Lord, don't let that Scarlett Johansson look-alike be Miss Laura.
I smiled, grateful for the distraction, so that I didn't have to commit to lunch with Ben, Maddie, my future mother-in-law, Scarlett Johansson, and Caitlin, whoever Caitlin was.
When the service ended, I visited with Piper and a few others while Ben was once again swarmed by the entire congregation. Though I wasn't overly concerned, the Miss Laura mystery was still on my mind, and I couldn't help but notice that for every one man or elderly woman who stood around Ben, there were 7 or 8 pretty young things giggling at every single thing he said.
About 30 seconds later, he glanced my way. There were still at least 10 women surrounding him, begging for his attention. But any bit of it they'd had was lost.
God's got this, Sarah, I thought to myself with joy and peace.
And it was a very good thing that I knew that and had given myself that little pep talk, because just a second later, Miss Laura came to collect Maddie, and she was indeed the ScarJo lookalike.
I couldn't help but wonder if we as women had always possessed the instinctive skills for detecting cattiness in other women, or if the knowledge had been taught to us throughout our lives by the great masters of the trade, such as Joan Collins and Linda Evans on Dynasty.
All I knew for sure was that if the ice in her eyes the first time I met her was any indication, Miss Laura could have teased up her hair, thrown on some shoulder pads, big clip-on earrings, and taught the Carringtons a lesson or two.
Ben considered her to be one of his closest friends, and he honestly and sincerely didn't recognize her attraction to him.
Actually, attraction isn't the way to describe it.
If a cheetah spent nearly 20 years hunting an antelope and had never given up the hunt, even when it appeared a lion was going to swoop in and claim it as its own, and it stood prepared to attack anything and everything that got between itself and its prey, would you say the cheetah was attracted to the antelope?
The more I observed her, the more I realized that she didn't even have the decency to look at him as something she hoped to attain. It was so much worse than that.
She looked at him as something she already possessed.
I felt like right then, in that particular moment, a battle was being waged for my soul. On my left shoulder was a little white angel in a broomstick skirt and a peasant top, and in my imagination bearing a strong resemblance to Roma Downey. That little angel was telling me to be supportive and understanding, and to put aside all of my petty jealousies and insecurities.
On my right shoulder was a demon in a sexy red dress and stilettos, looking a lot like early Stevie Nicks, but with fewer layers and less eye makeup.
My mind was telling me to slow things down.
It was telling me that it might not be the best idea to have such a serious conversation on the front porch of his parents' house with Laura and her secret ingredient deviled eggs inside.
And it was telling me that the dinner rolls we brought only needed to be warmed at 350 degrees for 7 minutes, so we didn't have much time left.
But the world was swirling around me, and everything was Ben.